Hello everyone, Grandpa Ron here again today. Hope you're all well and happy. Today we're going to get back into our basic Bible study. We're calling this series A Slice of Truth, and we're in Exodus. Today we're going to be looking at Exodus chapter 8. Remember in chapter 7, Moses and Aaron went before the pharaoh, and they asked him to let the people of Israel leave. And he refused, of course. And as the Lord had already explained to Moses, and Moses and Aaron performed some signs and wonders, miracles in front of Pharaoh, as God had instructed. A notable one was turning the Nile into blood. And the Pharaoh's heart was hardened. He just didn't want to let them go. He didn't believe the signs and wonders. He thought they were just natural phenomena. You know, today some of the same things happen. We'll see some things around the world, and rarely, if ever, do people say this was the hand of God. Maybe in passing, you know, but usually, well, this is just a natural phenomenon. That's just the way it is, you know. But God is in control. He's the author of the good things and the bad things, and He uses those things for His glory and for discipline and teaching. But we're going to look at this chapter 8 and see what other plagues He brings on Egypt and what the response of Pharaoh is to those. So let's go ahead and look at chapter 8. Verse 1. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go to Pharaoh and say to him, Thus says the Lord, Let my people go, that they may serve me. But if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite your whole territory with frogs." Now these frogs were a symbol of fertility to the Egyptians, and like just about everything else, they had idols to frogs. So this would be quite a shock, I guess, if Pharaoh discovered that the God of Israel could actually control frogs. But let's see what happens. Verse 3, "And the Nile will swarm with frogs, which will come up on and go into your house and into your bedroom and on your bed and into your houses, on your servants and on your people and into your ovens and into your kneading bowls." They are going to be everywhere. "So the frogs will come up, and you and your people and all your servants." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Say to Aaron, stretch out your hand with your staff over the rivers, over the streams, over the pools, and make frogs come up on the land of Egypt." So this is all through God's instruction. Verse 6, "So Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the magicians did the same with their secret arts, making frogs come up on the land of Egypt." My guess is it's kind of a sham or a copy. A lot of commentators feel like the magicians were able to conjure these things up. It was a magical event empowered by Satan, who has power up to a point, what God allows him to do. But you can imagine the frogs are already up and there and everywhere. And so somehow the magicians convinced the Pharaoh that they could do this too. Verse 8, "Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, Entreat the Lord that he remove the frogs from me and my people, and I will let the people go, that they may sacrifice to the Lord." Well, going back to verse 7, if the magicians were able to make these frogs come up as well, it would have been a better sign for them if they would have made them disappear, but they couldn't. Apparently they couldn't do that. So Pharaoh entreats Moses and Aaron to take care of the frogs. But we're going to see that he's not honest. He's we're going to see over and over again that he goes back on his word. Typical politician type way. Verse 9, and Moses said to Pharaoh, the honor is yours to tell me, when shall I entreat for you and your servants and your people, that the frogs be destroyed from you and your houses, that they may be left only in the Nile. So Moses said, I'm giving you the choice. When do you want these to go? You tell me. So they won't be able to say, well, this is just an accident, you know. Verse 10, then he said, tomorrow. So he said, may it be according to your word, that you may know that there is no one like the Lord our God. Now, by setting this time, it's going to be clear that it's not some natural event, some natural phenomena. Verse 11, and the frogs will depart from you and your houses and your servants and your people. They will be left only in the Nile. Then Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses cried to the Lord concerning the frogs which he had inflicted upon Pharaoh. And the Lord did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs died out of the houses, the courts, and the fields. So they piled them up in heaps, and the land became foul. And when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart and did not listen to them, as the Lord had said. Remember, the Lord had said before this whole thing started to Moses, Pharaoh's heart's going to be hardened. And here it is. Once he sees that there's relief, then he goes back on his promise to let them go. A thing that, he repeats several times. Verse 16. Then the Lord said to Moses, say to Aaron, stretch out your staff and strike the dust of the earth, that it may become gnats through all the land of Egypt. And they did so. And Aaron stretched out his hand with his staff and struck the dust of the earth, and there were gnats on man and beast. And the dust of the earth became gnats through all the land of Egypt. Some commentators say this might be translated better to mosquitoes or something like that. But we'll stick with gnats. Gnats can be pretty nasty. My wife and I lived in Georgia for a while, and then in South Carolina. And they have what's called sand gnats on the coast. And they don't bite, but they secrete an acid on your skin, and it feels just like they're biting you. But even when you slap them and kill them, that acid continues to burn and itch, and it's just very painful and annoying. So when I read this about gnats, I wonder if they're that kind of gnats, because they were nasty. And are nasty. They're still there, of course. Verse 18 is interesting. And the magicians tried with their secret arts to bring forth gnats, but they could not. So there were gnats on man and beast. So the magician's abilities stop here. They can't duplicate, show in any way that they can do the same thing that Moses and Aaron are doing. So God has allowed them to demonstrate some kind of magical ability up to this point, but no more. Verse 19, then the magician said to Pharaoh, this is the finger of God. But Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he did not listen to them, as the Lord had said. So now even Pharaoh's advisors, his magicians, are telling him, this is the hand of God, and you need to do something here. And Pharaoh's heart is hardened even more. Verse 20. Now the Lord said to Moses, rise early in the morning and present yourself before Pharaoh as he comes out to the water, and say to him, thus says the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. For if you will not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of insects on you, and on your servants, and on your people, and on your houses. And the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of insects, and also the ground on which they dwell. So he's telling Pharaoh, you need to respond. You need to let my people go, because the gnats aren't the end of it. Verse 22. But on that day I will set apart the land of Goshen, where my people are living, so that no swarms of insect will be there, in order that you will know that I, the Lord, am in the midst of the land. That was the area of land that was given to them back in the days of Joseph, and they've done very well there. And now God is saying these insects aren't going to intrude into that area, so that you can see that this is the hand of God. That would be impressive. Swarms of insects everywhere, and then starting here, no more insects affecting the Israelites. Verse 23, and I will put a division between my people and your people. Tomorrow this sign shall occur. It gives a specific time. Verse 24, then the Lord did so, and there came great swarms of insects into the houses of Pharaoh and the houses of the servants, and the land was laid waste because of the swarms of insects in all the lands of Egypt. When I read this, I get this vision, this picture of locusts, how they'll come through and just devour everything, and they're so numerous. My wife and I lived in Killeen, Texas, or visited there. My parents lived there for a while. And they would have crickets, and the crickets would be so thick that they'd actually pile up. Dead crickets would pile up in the streets, about as high as the curbs. It was, they'd get in the houses, they were everywhere. And get that kind of a picture in your mind of what's going on here. Verse 25, and Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, go sacrifice to your God within the land. In other words, I'm going to let you go sacrifice, but you can't leave Egypt. You've got to do it within Egypt. He's going to compromise here. Verse 26, but Moses said, it is not right to do so, for we shall sacrifice to the Lord our God, which is an abomination to the Egyptians. If we sacrifice what is an abomination to the Egyptians before their eyes, will they not then stone us? The Egyptians worshipped cattle and sheep and oxen, and here they're going to sacrifice them. They're going to kill them and sacrifice them, which would be unacceptable to the Egyptians. They're saying if we start killing and sacrificing actual creatures that they worship, they're not going to be happy with us, and they're going to try to kill us. Verse 27, we must go a 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to the Lord our God as he commands us. And Pharaoh said, I will let you go that you may sacrifice to the Lord your God in the wilderness, only you shall not go very far away. Make supplication for me. So he's saying, okay, I'll compromise a little more. You can leave, but you can't go 3 days' journey, just a short way. So go back to your God and see if that'll work out. Verse 29. Then Moses said, behold, I am going out from you, and I shall make supplication to the Lord that the swarms of insects may depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people tomorrow. Only do not let Pharaoh deal deceitfully again in not letting the people go to sacrifice the Lord. So he's saying, Pharaoh, I'm going to go ask God to remove these insects, but you need to quit lying to us. So Moses went out from Pharaoh and made supplication to the Lord. Then the Lord did as Moses asked and removed the swarms of insects from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. Not one remained. And verse 32 should come as no surprise. But Pharaoh hardened his heart this time also, and he did not let the people go. So Pharaoh just totally rejects all of this. He may believe that Moses actually has a God, but he's discounting the God of the Israelis as being the only God, the all-powerful God, the creator of everything. The Pharaoh's looking at him as just, okay, he's one more God. But there's all these other gods, and I shouldn't have to do what this one God is saying. That could be one thing he's thinking in his mind. But whatever's going on in Pharaoh's mind, he is not going to let the people go at this point. Now remember, in previous chapters, God had explained to Moses that this was going to happen, and he explained why. He said, because Pharaoh's heart will be hardened, I'm going to be able to demonstrate more and more signs and wonders, which is going to reveal my power, my majesty, my control, my sovereignty. As we've already seen, the magicians have started to notice this. Later on, we're going to see that the Egyptians start to notice it. But the Pharaoh's heart is totally hardened, and it's going to take even more drastic measures to get him to change his mind. And it's this way around us today. We see things that would make some people acknowledge God, turn to God for help and assistance. But those same events, other people just get angry and mad, and this is unfair. I don't deserve this. It's not going to change them in any way, shape, or form. In Pharaoh's situation, he is a hard character. Anyway, we're going to stop here today. We've seen God's power. We've seen how he's given Pharaoh opportunity after opportunity to change his mind and to let the people of Israel go and accede to God's will. But Pharaoh has rejected all the way along. We're going to see in the next chapter some more opportunities for Pharaoh, and we'll see what happens then. In the meantime, thanks for watching. We'll see you later.